to the September 17th, 2019 Shrewsbury Housing Authority meeting. First, I want to thank everybody at Elizabeth Gardens for letting us come here and have our meeting here. So we'll start with the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of, we have two sets of minutes to accept, Mr. Chair. So I'll make a motion to first accept the minutes of our July board meeting.
Second.
Any questions, comments, discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
I would like to make a second motion. We had a special board meeting on August 28th. All were attendant. I was via phone. I'd like to make a motion to accept those meetings.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. And now we'll go to the treasurer's and financial reports. Any questions, comments, discussion on the financial reports?
Very healthy balance.
First, we're looking at the bank account balances. Everything appears to be in order. Anybody have any questions?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to the revolving account. Any questions, comments? Anybody? It's a big, it's not that big.
No, nothing surprising though. No.
The, that small check on the roofing to Robinson Green Beretta, is that a retainage amount or $1,000 account?
In 705 roofing, yes,
That was retainage,
that's
right?
retainage.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? There being none, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the check register in the amount of $55,179.12.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. And now let's move on to the landlord, let's do the portability first.
Make a motion to pay out the portability check register in the amount of $1,724.92.
How come mine's different than yours?
Mine's different. $1291.80.
I have 1724. Did I go buy something?
You certainly do.
Yes.
I apologize, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the portability, it's the same thing, portability check register. Portability check register in $1291.80.
That's good, that's because we have two, because of 2 months, okay? So, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you.
I would like a second motion for the portability check register dated 9/1
For
in the
September.
amount of September 1724.92.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now we go to the tenant and landlord check register. This is for August.
Jump ahead, okay. I would like to make a motion for the August landlord check register and tenant payout of $118,413 even.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And we have the one for September.
Same motion, same payout, half accounting check register, landlord tenant register payout in the amount of, bear with me, $120,258.52.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Is the payroll going to be combined or is this separate?
Is that separate?
Separate.
I make a motion for July payroll as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you.
Make a motion to approve August payroll as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, unanimous. Correspondence, Kelly, anything we need to know here or anything that pops out at you?
No, it's been a quiet June and July. It's really quiet.
Well, isn't that good?
Yes, very good.
Anybody else have anything that they think is of note? If not, we'll move on to vacancy reports. As you can see, Francis Gardens, we have a few. Do they all need work?
No. One of them has moved out August 30th. The other 3 are moving out September 30th. But I wanted to let the board and everybody else know the process that Shirley, myself have to go through of getting somebody housed. So I printed these, I had Shirley print these today for everyone. So you will see it has the apartment number, the move-out date, and then the priority. So with this new CHAMP waiting list, there's many, many priorities, as you will see on the following pages, that we have to go to.
They're ahead of local numbers?
Yes. So as you see, the first one, it's a priority 4, medical emergency, and it's a veteran's widow. When Shirley sends out
Wait a minute, priority number 1, is that what you're looking at?
on the second page, and I put the apartment numbers so you can see what priorities they are.
Oh, I see. Oh, so you're giving us the corresponding numbers to these particular units?
I am, along with the priority preference, leaving out the applicant's information.
Got it.
So each vacancy that we get, we have to pull a waiting list. Each waiting list is different. So if we have a vacancy for the first apartment, we have to pull one of the waiting list. Then, instead of going to the next person that's eligible, when we get another vacancy, we have to pull another list. When we pull, we have to pull 10 people. Out of those 10 people, we have to send a package that is almost 20 pages long. This supplemental application has to go out, and those applicants have to respond within 10 days with all their documentation. If they do not respond, we have to pull another list. So this can take up to 30 days to fill one apartment now with this new online CHAMP application.
And yet we get findings if we don't fill them within 30 days.
Correct.
Nice.
And this package is $2 to send out every time.
Is this a state requirement or is this HUD?
This is state. This is the new CHAMP online system. The only waiting list that we have control of now is the federal.
So you said something, Mr. Chairman, may I ask a
Yes,
question?
please.
You said something that I want to make sure I understood, that you said you have to do 10 and then go to a list. Then you go to another list again and you do another 10 for the next vacancy. So numbers, in my simple little mind, the first time you pulled the list, you had applicants from 1 through 10.
Yes.
When you go to another vacancy, are you then pulling applicants 11 through 20? Or are you going 2 through 11, assuming one of the 1 through 10's accepted? Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Does it make sense to the
Yes.
board what I'm asking?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly, yeah.
So none of these say names on them. So for one of the apartments, Shirley pulled 10 people. It just has the application number.
Right.
One of those 10 people we're hoping are eligible. But if they're not, she has to pull another list. But these people that are on this list are not on this one.
That's my question. So it's not, in my simple mind, it's not 2 through 11, it's 11 through 20.
And
But that's because on the first list, they're not priorities.
no. It's because
They're on a list, they've been pulled.
every housing authority in Massachusetts is on this waiting list. So when Shirley pulls a waiting list, say today, and I'm just throwing out a housing, Auburn has a vacancy tomorrow, they're gonna pull, they may get number 11 through 15. You'll never pull the same people on one waiting list, and it will never be coinciding.
But do they go back? Of the 10 people you pulled, if 3 are deceased and 1 is opted out, and 1 gets a housing, there's still 5 names, in my simple little example,
Right.
that never got housing. Do those 5 go back into the queue to be pulled the next time someone does a poll?
Into the whole pool, where all housing authorities can pull for that, not just Shrewsbury.
Right, but they didn't miss
They
their
don't go-
opportunity.
they don't go to the
They
end of the
did not
list.
miss the
Yeah, and they don't go to
opportunity.
the end of the line either. They come back in with their same priority where they were.
Yes.
Okay, that was my
The
concern.
only time they will, if they do not respond in 10 days. If they do not respond in 10 days, they're off this list.
So-
And there's a lot of documentation that needs to be returned to the
So I
housing
get the do
authority.
not respond, because people die, they don't tell the government, people move, they go in with their family. I totally, that makes perfect sense to me. 10 days seems a little bit,
Tight,
yeah,
but we have nothing to say.
I guess it doesn't matter what I think about that.
No.
but- I mean, I get that you have your shots up and you have to tell us if you're gonna take it. 10 days seems thin.
And we're getting training on this, Shirley Moore, because she's handling the waiting list on a weekly to every 2 weeks. Everything's changing. Everything's online. There's all housing authorities in getting this training. I don't like it. I used to like having the waiting list at the housing authority.
Get the government involved, you wanna slow something down.
Can I just follow that up again? I'm gonna ask the same question maybe a different way. You pull up 10 names, right?
Yes.
You look at that list and see who's eligible, right? In terms of priorities.
Yes.
If you don't find anybody on that list that's a priority,
These are all prioritized before. So
before you get them,
The list fits them up in priority.
So Kelly Bergeron enters all the information, and it determines
so you could get 10
10 priority first.
non-local,
Yeah,
homeless priorities, right?
yes.
Okay.
As you see in the top,
Urban renewal,
Three.
storm clearance priorities.
the only one,
But it's still, what I do like about these, in every single category, local veteran is still preference 1 after priority 1.
Right.
So yes, it's statewide, but that's priority 1, the way I read this. Preference 1 is local veteran.
But now it looks like only local and non-local veterans are getting housed. Only.
veterans are gonna jump over locals.
Which I'm all for. I mean, I don't mean to sound insensitive, but I mean, I think that's a sound policy, is the way to say that.
Right, but now my point is we're housing only veterans. is my
No,
point.
preference 3, local non-veteran.
We're not even getting to that.
Mm-mm,
Okay, that's what you're saying, right,
We're not even getting to that.
right.
unless they're number 9, 10, and 11 on the waiting list.
I understand, yeah, I understand that, but you're not, I'm correct, I do, but.
It's interesting, I'm pointing that out just as a matter of interest.
No, I agree.
Because it's amazing how this is devolving.
It is evolving, not devolving,
Yes,
devolving.
Dissolving.
Yeah, yeah.
So, on one of the family units that Shirley pulled, will most likely go to a priority 4 and not a local.
So,
Local family,
What a shame.
And a family unit,
in a family unit.
those are our crown jewels.
We have a lot of families that need housing.
That's what I'm
in this
saying,
town.
those are our crown jewels.
So that's all gone by the wayside now.
All of our preferences that we've been used to all these years are gone.
Everything's changing.
Not necessarily.
That's why I wanted Shirley to pull all
Thank you,
this,
the Commonwealth
so
of
you can
Massachusetts.
see the process that we have to go through now.
Who's making these changes? The legislature?
The state, yes.
The legislature?
The HCD of the state, they didn't want housing authorities to have control of the waiting list.
it's so much better now.
Mr.
It's
Chairman,
sarcastic.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just again to clarify if I could. So if someone doesn't respond, are they off the list or are they back in the pool?
They're off the
Off.
list.
They go
So
back to the
they have to
end.
come back for their and fill out another application?
Yes.
So they don't just go to the end of the list?
No, if they don't respond in these 10 days, they're off.
Oh, God.
Do we have, I'm sorry, do we have the, is Shirley, does she have the time to help people complete this?
Yes.
Okay,
We-
how do, is that clear to, is there anything we can do to make it clear that there's people available like Shirley who can walk them through this process?
There's, it says on the waiting list to go into the housing authority, but the state is more pushing for all applicants to do this online. They don't want the applicants coming into the
Some
housing
people
authority.
don't have computers.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And
Some people are
For-
poor, they don't have the access.
some people don't read or write, and they don't understand this whole process. A lot of this is documentation after documentation after documentation that some people may not have, and they don't have the resources of where to go.
So if they're off, they don't get back in 10 days, they're off the list.
Yes.
Are they notified they're off the list?
Yes, once they
And-
go, they're not notified by us that they're
Okay.
off the list. They have, if they call,
Then you can answer,
we
but.
can answer them, or we have to ask them if they have access to a computer.
Mhm.
If they do not, then we will let them know to reapply. If they do, we have to tell them they have to go in to self-certify.
Okay. So some people could be sitting on a waiting list thinking they're on our waiting list and they're not.
Yes, a lot of
Because-
people have
Exactly right.
called and said, I've been on the waiting list for 2 years, or 3 years, or 5 years. All the.
Especially the family units.
Yeah.
Yes, and all this got transferred over from MCS to the state waiting list. We all went to trainings, they took our waiting list, they migrated everything over. So with that being said, we do have 4 vacancies, 1 vacancy at Francis right now that the person has accepted, was offered and accepted. The next 3, 2 of them I was working with,
Oops, sorry. Sorry.
I was working with Christine from Youth and Family Social Services, the director, and where we worked on getting the second apartment and third apartment is being housed to 2 people from 721 Main Street.
Is that the Main Street Department? Oh, that's good, we were able to help out there, that's fabulous.
And then the 4th vacancy that will happen in September is going to a homeless local who is a veteran.
So homelessness still trumps. Were we able to do anything local with, if anyone's homeless, well, homeless but from Shrewsbury? Or no, it still goes back to how they fall on the list?
Yes. At Elizabeth Street, there's no vacancies. And then there's 2 vacancies. One at a family unit that is, I'm working with getting it offline because it's a lot of damage. And the second one will go to a priority for not a local.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can we, as a board, just write something to the DCHC?
DHCD.
Just our displeasure as a board, just to get on record that this is what's happening?
I think we could, but I think it's more
And if enough people do
appropriate
it.
maybe for us to do it to our state representative
Okay.
and to our state senator.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that basically enable DHC
Okay.
to do what it does.
At the very least, we
You know?
complain, if enough people complain, maybe something will happen,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, they might tear them up, but I mean,
We send them again.
geez, you,
And I invite them in to see how the process is done in our office.
do they know?
I know Senator Moore's office knows.
Yeah.
They're right with us.
Okay. So, I'm fine with all three,
Right, exactly.
frankly.
Yeah, just to be on, we can
And how's
play it
everybody
out.
else feel about that?
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it.
So,
So I guess I just
Committee of one.
volunteered to write them up. All right.
Open mouth.
I'm thinking you might be two committees tonight.
Yeah.
Happy to
Yeah, definitely.
I'm happy to help as
Yeah.
well.
I'll
I mean,
draft something.
why don't we collaborate,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, I'll draft
Yeah,
something, I'll get a first draft and then,
Yeah,
And I'll let you know who to address them to.
okay, yep.
but I think we should also include our representatives.
Yeah, I
Yes,
mean, I'm
yes.
also happy to back channel our statement.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that they would agree that this is a good policy and that we lose our local preference altogether. So, but, okay, moving on.
Okay.
So you can see the vacancy reports. Shrewsbury Towers,
No vacancies.
okay. Section 8, we're 100%,
Yes, I did August and September.
okay. And we have the typical
New normal,
new normal on the
which
list of
New
social
normal is
services
now like-
reports.
3 years old.
Yeah, yeah. So now now I guess we should just call it normal.
No, that's what I'm saying, that's my point. The new normal is now like 3 or 4 years.
Okay. Okay, do we have anybody with old business? Okay.
I don't know if this is old business or not, but if you've been over to the tower, you've seen the parking lot is a shambles. I mean, right now.
It's being paved, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And parking is across the street, handicaps behind the building.
At the Trojan Club and behind the building. At the Trojan Club and behind the building, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And any place else you can find a spot.
Mm-hmm. But that'll be done when?
So the testing just came back, the compact testing. So the binder is going down on Thursday, and the top coat will be Wednesday and Thursday of next week.
Excellent.
So are you doing the
Then they
piece over to the right, I'm sorry, Bruce, over to the right as well? When you pull in the main driveway, that little supplemental
Oh,
lot?
the visitor lot.
Yeah, yeah, you're doing that too,
Yes.
okay.
So everything's getting done.
Except for way back.
Except
Wait,
for
the park, the area where we park for meetings, that's not getting done? Is there a reason, or we just think about the cost?
The cost to do the whole thing, so it's a little around the corner, that's.
So where does it end? Right at the tip of the building where that little shack is?
Yes,
How do they bend, how do
They
they
just
just
kinda-
blend it?
Yeah,
they dug everything up.
Yeah.
Um,
Did they grind it or
They did.
Yeah, okay.
So they grind it, and then they brought in the rollers, and then people had to come to do the sample testing. That testing came back today, and I talked to the architect, and he said, I said, when's the paving? Because just sitting there seeing nothing done. And Gary texted me when I was here and said that the binder on Thursday and top coat on Wednesday and Thursday of next week.
good job.
Then don't you have to paint the lines for the parking spots?
That will all be done
By Friday of next week.
by Friday of next week.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
No
Pray
rain,
pray no rain.
Let's
Yeah.
not break the lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. New business.
So there, on the next is the PMR results. The PMR is the Performance Management Review that happens every single year that DHCD comes in. They sit with Gary, they sit with myself, they look at files, they look that you guys did your online certification as board members, they look at the tenant's account receivables, vacancy reports, everything you could possibly think of. And as you see, Tommy Lee, my housing management specialist, said that this report is awesome. We absolutely have no findings.
Good job.
Congratulations. Good work.
Kelly, is Tommy Lee the new two-letter last name woman?
He's been with us. She's been with us.
Ty, yeah.
Ty is hot, and we don't have Ty
No,
anymore.
that's okay, so, but not, so Tommy Lee is not the new Ty?
Tommy Lee was, been at DHCD
Okay,
for
I
years.
didn't know if it was a replacement for Ty, but I'm switching
Yep.
federal instead.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Good report.
Great report. And then we
Thank
have the
you.
management assessment program.
And that is Section 8, where HUD looks at all the Section 8 files and everything.
You're a
As
high
you,
performer, again, congratulations.
yes, 100%.
Congratulations.
We have the best executive director.
Thank you.
Yes, we do. Why don't I would suggest that on new business, we talk about the correspondence that we received from Karen Allers, the attorney who represents us and other housing authorities relative to a grievance policy. My recollection is that we have a grievance policy, but I don't know that it actually tracks the manner that she's addressing here. So, can you enlighten us?
Sure. So we do have a grievance policy. It is actually one person, I believe, from Elizabeth Street, one person from Francis Gardens, one person from a family unit. So if a tenant brings something grievable that's regarding their lease, and they always ask for a hearing or whatever, and if Shirley or myself sits down and they don't like what we have to say, they can bring it to this 3-member board. And then from there, if they don't like it, then normally it goes to Karen. But we do have a grievance policy that's been in effect for a long time.
Well, she seems to be telling us that the avenue of last resort is the housing authority itself, the board. At least that's the way I understood that letter, so.
But is she talking about the tenant board and we're thinking it's our board?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I don't know if this was,
Well, she's saying that we shouldn't be addressing, I'm sorry, she's saying we shouldn't be addressing complaints directly to our residents because we could end up being disqualified under the conflict of interest rules from hearing the grievance later. So that to me infers that we're the end resort here.
that's my understanding, that, let's say in a meeting such as this, if somebody has a grievance about a particular person or issue, we can't necessarily address that in our meeting. We have to go through the grievance process, and we're sort of the committee of last resort.
Right, because she points out in page 2,
Do you have a copy of that?
for instance, that tenants who remain dissatisfied after a grievance panel hearing officer renders its decision may appeal that decision to the Board of Commissioners in accordance with the grievance regulations in 760 CMR 6.08. That's a law.
Right.
So we are the panel of final resort.
If they have not come to us.
No,
That's-
after they
that's
come.
what-
Yeah.
After everything is said and
Yes.
done, if they're still dissatisfied, they can come before the board.
They can appeal to
So
the
we
board.
can't address particular questions from our tenants at these meetings if it's a grievable problem. Is that what I'm understanding?
That's what I'm understanding from
Okay.
Karen's.
Right,
All right.
so my feeling is that our grievance policy needs to be examined. And, any volunteers?
Since I brought it up.
I'll be happy to work with you on it.
Okay.
The bottom line is that I think that the grievance policy needs to be re-examined and maybe revamped in light of the CMRs, which we need to follow. Because CMRs have the same, they have the same force as statute. So there's a statute that says we're the panel of last resort. So let's make sure our policy gets it there, okay?
And I think one of the things, in addition to that, is just a policy for how we respond to those, because we don't want people to think that we don't care, we're just limited by what we can do. So a standard we can't do this, but this is how you can do it. So some sort of standard policy that we have, so people know we care and we wanna help them, but we can't address the specific issue.
And I can bring the policy that's been in place forever, and we can have an open, discussion regarding it under new business next meeting, if you'd
That'd be
like.
good.
That would be helpful.
That'd be great.
That'd be
Thank you.
very helpful.
Yeah, in the meantime, why don't you get the policy to Kathy and myself, and we can perhaps talk about it in the meantime, with an eye towards having some suggestions at the next meeting. Oh, everybody okay with that?
100%.
Okay. And obviously, if anybody, why don't you give it to everybody?
I was gonna say, if you distribute it to everybody, we're okay. If we can't discuss it collaboratively,
Right.
but at least if we read it and we're well versed in it, by the time we get to the next meeting, at least I'm not going,
You'll have
wait,
your-
what are you referring to? What-
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
And you'll be ready with your
My
comments as
opinion,
well.
yes,
Right.
correct.
Rather than us waiting another 2
Yeah, there's no sense
meetings.
blowing the whole cycle,
Right.
correct,
Right,
yes.
good idea.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
good. That's it from me for new business.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
When we were at the end of the last meeting, the July meeting perhaps, because we didn't have the August live, we had a question about the roof in the cell tower or something, and we were trying to verify a piece of information.
There was a piece of equipment we wanted to know whether it was appropriately placed.
Yeah.
Not on the roof, but on the side of the building.
Correct.
I haven't looked at that.
Okay.
I didn't get a copy of the lease, didn't pull it up, so why don't we?
It was just a borderline hallway conversation in the parking lot, but I don't think we were concerned enough at the time that we should probably not.
So why don't we pull the leases together, Kelly, for me to take a look at, and you and I will review those relative to that question.
That's it.
Okay? And we'll report at the next meeting on that.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, good point, I forgot about it as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't formal, it wasn't on the record,
It wasn't
so
decided.
yeah, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Okay. Anybody else have anything they need to discuss or raise? At this stage, we will open it up for our residents, if anyone has any comments, questions? Well, that's interesting. Well, I want to thank, once again, I want to thank you for having us here. Although we can't take your complaints, we still can listen to your comments and questions, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between listening
Right.
and acting. I think
Right.
we can hear them, we can't respond, which is one of the things Kathy and I first went around the round when I said they'd come to you. I was like, by law, we can't say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But what we can say is, I understand, and we'll let Kelly know. That's
Right.
pretty much by, at least if I remember the training, by the boundaries of the statute, what we're obligated to do.
Right.
Because we have no operational involvement. It's strictly policy and oversight.
And I think it's important for our residents, our residents that have participated in our meeting here today, at least by being here and I noticed paying attention. It's important for you to know that there is a grievance policy, and it's important for our residents to know there is a grievance policy, and that we're going to try to make it as clear as we can, so that there's no misunderstandings as to what you can do if you do in fact have a grievance, so, or a problem with the authority. So, more on that at the next meeting.
I got a
But-
question.
Yeah, sure.
You're saying that the towers won't be done until next week?
Yes.
The end
Now,
of
does
next
that
week.
interfere with next week for us?
No,
No.
no.
Interfere with what's next week?
So, I've had one meeting on Monday
Yeah.
with the tenants here regarding the pavement. The
Okay.
pavement, the HCD along with the contractor was here on Friday.
Oh, good.
So we send the notice to proceed. So they're starting the paving. On Monday, we're gonna do the back, the front, I'm sorry. And then once the front is done, they're gonna do the back.
That was that alternate, if you recall.
Right.
Yes. And I'm having another meeting with the tenants on this coming Friday for tenants who didn't show up at the previous meeting.
Sure.
So the answer is you're still getting paid.
The bigger answer is we do listen. The wheels of justice grind slowly when you're dealing with the government. Since I've been on this board, that's been a thorn in our side, so
2 o'clock, yeah.
2
15
p.m.
years in.
Anybody have anything else?
Thank you.
Any questions?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Meeting's adjourned, thank you.
Coming here.